receivers are going to do. But
let's talk about the Vikings. I watched that game, and
okay.
I thought we would come into the Vikings Seahawks we're talking about that, and I thought we were going to be talking about Jordan Addison, Jackson Smith-Njigba. I'm going to have to learn how to say his last name, but I think it's Njigba.
I think that's how you say it, but
I thought we were going to come into this show and we're going to be hyping those guys up. It was going to be all about those two. And I didn't see a whole lot from Jackson Smith. I saw a little bit from Jordan Addison. And Jordan Addison, he had a ton of 2 or 3 that are in the back of my mind right now. Just insane catches. One was a sideline catch, which I think both of his feet were in bounds. That was kind of a controversial call. But he also had one that Nick Mullins completely underthrew. And it was like, he kind of came like out of frame, caught it, sliding on the ground. And if Nick Mullins hadn't have underthrown it and he wouldn't have to dive like that, I think he would have taken it to the bank just because of how fast he was. There was really no one around him. If he had been standing, they only had time to get to him because he was on the ground. But that's not the guy that I'm going to give the props to for this game. That's not the guy that I think we should be paying attention to from this game, because everyone is already paying attention to Jordan Addison. From USC, first round pick, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah. So I want to pay attention to Ty Chandler. He was round 5 last year, 169th pick. Obviously the Vikings have had Dalvin Cook. Now he's a free agent. We don't know where he's going to sign yet. Seems like he really likes the Jets, but we don't know yet.
That's that's a weird spot because I don't really think they need running backs over there. I think they're pretty okay, but
I mean, they're starting running back right. Oh, you mean the Jets?
Yeah, Jets.
Okay,
Not
okay.
yeah.
No, I meant the Vikings.
No. I meant Dalvin Cook. I don't really think Dalvin Cook should go to the Jets. I mean, this is a whole different side of the story, but my opinion with Dalvin Cook, I don't think he should go to the Jets. I think their running back core is good, and even their depth is solid. Like I said, Abanikanda and a lot of those guys are going to be good, so they're good, potential running back twos.
I think it depends where Breece Hall's at.
Yeah, so
is he really rehabbing as well as they're saying he is from that ACL? But so in Minnesota right now, the starting running back is Alexander Madison, who great RB2. Wish him the best.
He's solid.
And again, this is preseason, playing against backups, playing with backups, that type of thing. Ty Chandler was the guy during that game. If a play got broken up, he was there, and he's not a Derrick Henry type where he's going to break a ton of tackles and get extra yards. But I thought he did pretty decent. I think there's something that can be worked with here. I think Vikings fans should be very excited to watch this guy based on what I've seen so far. 70 all-purpose yards in the entire game, which isn't a lot in a regular game, but for preseason that's pretty decent because you're pulling guys, plugging guys. I mean, they're not playing the entire game. Yeah. He also averaged 3.7 yards rushing average. Usually 4 yards is about what you want out of your running back, so he's a little low there. But I think that's something you can grow on. His receiving, though, was where he really stuck out to me. It just seemed like whenever Nick Mullins was in trouble, Ty Chandler was always in the right spot to catch the ball. He knew where to be. He was a safety valve type player who, you're not going to get your 10 yards on this play. We might not get a first down, but we're going to get 3. We're going to get 3 yards. The play's not going to be completely shot. And I like that in a running back. I think that that's a good thing to have in a running back. And especially on a team where you have Justin Jefferson. You have the number 2, according to the NFL, the number 2 most important player in the NFL. Mm-hmm. You have Justin Jefferson. Jordan Addison's probably going to be fantastic. His athleticism was insane. You've got these... you got KJ Osborne, not a terrible wide receiver. You've got TJ Hawkinson at tight end. They have a team. And I don't know what Kirk Cousins and Ty Chandler's chemistry is like, if it's similar to Nick Mullins and Ty's, maybe second team type stuff. They're just closer. But I was really impressed by Ty Chandler. I'd never heard of him. If I'm being honest, I had never heard of Ty Chandler. But I immediately was like, who is this guy? Found out he was drafted last year. I assumed he was a rookie. He is not. But yeah, 169th pick, Ty Chandler.
Yeah, I mean that's solid. I mean, like you said, I think the Vikings, they have a good spot, like offensively. I think their team is good. It's just they just need to like build off of it because they're choking. Like they don't need to choke because their team is good. It's just it feels like they struggle against like these random teams. Because didn't they lose to the Giants last year in the playoffs? I thought it was the Giants.
I think you might be right. Yeah.
Yeah, because I thought it was like the Giants because I thought the Vikings were like second or something. Then they went up against the Giants. They lost. They were third or something, and they lost to the Giants. And then the Giants went on to verse the Eagles.
Yep, that's what happened.
Yeah, and it's not like, and that Vikings team was like good, and then they just fell apart. And granted, you added, Jordan Addison, who could really be good, but you lost Dalvin Cook, so like, you know, maybe there'll be some different, adjustments. Maybe the chemistry will work better than it did last year, but it does make you wonder, you know. But also, the one thing I will say about preseason football compared to other, like, regular season is you have to take it with a grain of salt, in my opinion, just because a lot of times, like, I'm like, oh, that player's a beast. He should start. And then they never end up starting because it's always like, oh, there's this better player ahead of him. And it's like, but is he better? Like, in my opinion, I thought Kenny Pickett was last year better than Mitchell Trubisky from what I saw in preseason. And I was like, why don't you just start him? But then they started Mitch. And then there's like players that like look better on running back. Like, for example, I'm a big Jalen Warren guy. I think him and Anthony McFarland looked great yesterday's game. And I mean, granted, Najee only had like 4 different plays that he was involved in. And I thought he looked, mediocre. And that's coming from a Steelers fan. But granted, it's not the regular season. And obviously Najee Harris is going to start over Warren and McFarland. But I mean, I guess we'll see what happens in Minnesota, but it'll be quite an interesting thing to keep an eye on, see how well they do. I mean, definitely slated for a very strong finish potentially, but I don't know. We'll see what happens.
I just think there's this fear in Minnesota right now that Dalvin's gone. Where's our run game going to go? Like, not that they think Alexander Madison's bad, but like before it was Dalvin and Alexander and they could do it together. Now they view it as just Alexander. And I'm based on this game alone, I think Ty Chandler could pick up the slack. I think he could be a good, like, if you only want to run Alexander for 2 downs and then have Ty Chandler be that third down back. Again, he's not going to barrel through your defensive line. He's not going to be that tough guy like Derrick Henry who's stiff arming people. That wasn't the vibe I got from him. But I think he could catch the ball, get you 2 yards, and then fall down. He could get you what you need.
Yeah.
And a lot of teams, that's all they need. They just need a simple guy like that. They don't need Derrick Henry.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of, uncertainty with running backs out there right now. I mean, who knows? Maybe we could just see something random and wild happen in Minnesota, and we don't even, like, Ty Chandler might not even be in the discussion come week 4. Might be some random running back pickup that they do or some random trade. We've seen some wild things happen in the